Morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Niraj Shah. And it's a quiet day, very, very quiet day. It was a quiet overnight for all asset classes, equity markets, currencies, and as well as gold too. So therefore, a quiet as she goes could well be the order of the day, really. Bring up what the US markets did in session overnight, and you will see it was a very flattish kind of a performance. So stocks are moving up to record highs, but not quite able to eclipse those. Are they looking for a catalyst? Possibly so. Would the US lawmakers deal, or both the parties, Republicans and the Democrats, deal on a stimulus be the catalyst that the markets are searching for? Possibly. Yesterday's China's stimulus injection, small as it was, brought about a smile, but I think for the markets to inch up higher, maybe, just maybe, that stimulus is the trigger that the markets need. So let's wait and watch. Asia too is very, very quiet, and so is the SGX Nifty. Frankly, it could well be a completely quiet day, even on the stocks front compared to what we've been used to. But yeah, Asia will come up on your screen, SGX Nifty will come up on your screen, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a fairly placid kind of a morning that we have on our hands. So there will possibly be individual movers in almost all of the indices as well. And frankly, for our markets too. I mean, the SGX Nifty will come up on your screen and will show you what we are likely to do. Remember, yesterday the SGX was indicating a percent higher move, and we ended up only about 0.5% at close, which is fine. It doesn't have to mirror. But what I'm trying to say is that what will happen during the course of the day need not be an indication of what the SGX is suggesting. But I reckon that today we might have a relatively quiet day compared to the last few. Though you have to admit that in late trade, Nifty had a bit of a surge, and the market undertone certainly seems to be bullish because I think the FNO data, purely from an FII side, and I was looking at this data overnight, purely from the FII side, the FNO data is pretty bullish. FI longs were about 66% versus 58% odd previously. They added about 13,500 longs and covered some shorts in the index futures. So the FI data is certainly very bullish. I think when you see the data as well, 11,200 and 11,100 puts saw some heavy selling, and for the current series, it may act as a very strong support should the markets correct. Remember, yesterday I was saying the nature of the buying at lower levels would be interesting. So I'm not saying that the markets will correct, but if they were to correct, I think on the FI data side, 11,200 and 100 seem to be pretty strong supports. The point is the DI selling in the cash market that we continue to see. They sold over 700 crores yesterday. This extends the selling from the DI side to 11 consecutive days. I mean, frankly, I can't figure out, and there's no way for me to search when was the last time DI sold for 11 consecutive sessions, to be honest. But yeah, it seems a very long time ago, and the numbers are pretty staggering too. I think now comfortably over $1 billion, if not slightly more than that, on the DI side, cash market selling. So that's the trouble. Earnings, the entertainment today, that's the one lone Nifty mover, and stock coming out with numbers. But keep in mind, it's pretty interesting what Z could do, right? Because yesterday, after Sun's results, Z had a bit of a leg up ahead of the numbers. And if it indeed has some bit of an up move today, then the numbers and the commentary better be good. Otherwise, it's a very, very volatile stock. The numbers will likely come out post-market hours. So please be careful if you're trading Z Entertainment. And if it moves up again, it will be some 10, 11, 12 days of Z moving up, largely moving up. And you've got to be mindful of that if you're trading Z. Broader market, I think Hindustan Aeronautics would be an important one because it's been a stock that has been a bit of a tear. And after Polyplex's numbers yesterday, Uflex numbers also would be important. Some of the packaging companies are doing very well on the results front, so do watch out. Stock of the day, I think Bandhan Bank, in all likelihood, would have a big reaction. RBI has removed the regulatory restriction after the founders diluted their shareholding. They have withdrawn the restriction on approval for new branches. They have lifted the restriction on CEO pay. All of these should augur well for Bandhan Bank. So therefore, do watch out for this one. Will be an important one in the session. Are easily the stock of the day. Frankly, also because there are not too many others which will have big reactions. And watch out for the telecom stocks. And somehow the commentary that's coming in from the Supreme Court seems to be slightly negative for Bharti Airtel, maybe even Vodafone, I don't know, but Bharti in particular. But let's wait and watch. I'm not preempting this. It's very difficult to preempt this because this is turning out to be a bit of a pot boiler, really. The Supreme Court will take up the AGR dues case again today, and the government has said, the Solicitor General said that the government will support any decision that the Supreme Court takes to secure recovery of AGR dues. It does seem to be, in perception at least, slightly patchy for Bharti, so I wouldn't be surprised if that stock were to correct a bit more today. At those levels, you never know, the damages might be in the price, so be mindful of that. RBL Bank will consider and approve the raising of funds via issue of equity shares by a preferential basis on August 20th. So banks continue to raise funds, and if RBL manages to raise funds easily, then it might be a positive for this one, because one would perceive that Axis, ICICI, HDFC would easily anyways raise funds. Can RBL do that is the question. If it doesn't manage to do that, it should be interesting. And lastly, Petronet LNG. So now optically, look at the numbers. Revenues down 43% at about 8,600, from 8,600 crores to 4,883 crores. EBITDA down to 909 crores from 1,023. EBITDA margins, excuse me, at 18.6% versus 11.9, and PAT substantially, I mean, not so low, just about 499 crores, again, led largely by the top line loss. But just look at their exceptional EBITDA performance. And frankly, for a lot of brokerages like Morgan Stanley, for example, did mention that these numbers look actually better than what was estimated. The volume outlook has improved due to completion of the capacity expansion at the Dahej, and the Kochi terminal utilization will increase after the completion of Gale's pipeline. So most people are saying that the longer term story actually looks intact, driven by sustainability of reclassification margins, and therefore do watch out for Petronet LNG. This could well be a stock to monitor in the session. In terms of what stood out, well, just keep an eye out on the gold mining companies across the world. Yesterday, we had a big day for Barrick Gold after Buffett bought into it. The question is, can the rally in gold and therefore gold miners continue? And all of us have options to invest into them if we want to. So study that properly. It could well be an interesting space to monitor. That's it on the trade setup today. Thanks so much for tuning in.